What is up, guys? Thought I'd do a little quick live stream, hang out with you guys tonight. I gotta build, well, I need a new tool. I need a smoke stopper for my quads, and I've been putting off putting one together. I'm not even entirely sure why I haven't bothered building one, but basically, long story short, we're gonna build a tool where we're gonna take a light bulb and we're gonna hook it in series with our supply. That way, we can illustrate it when we're done, but that way if we have any high current draw or low potential to ground on the quadcopter or anything RC that we're putting together, the load will be entirely dropped across the light bulb. So all of our potential voltage will be dropped across, and well, they'll be light emitted, which will stop the smoke from coming out of things that we don't want them to. Cheers, Zach. Cheers, Armando. Good to see you guys. Glad you guys could stop in. So all I got is some 1156 bulbs from my local Canadian Tire. Nothing crazy. It's just an old school single filament brake light. And we're gonna need some. Well, we're gonna need some goodies. Let's go digging. We need some. This is my toolbox of random RC stuff. We'll need some XT60 connectors, and we don't need this fancy a wire, but that's what I've got. This is really good silicone wire, so we'll use that, and that should make for, well, one expensive smoke stopper, that wire. Cheers, Ahmed. Glad you could make it. All right. So, oh, I'm glad. Did you say it was doing live? I'm hoping that. That's a funny thing with YouTube. YouTube is a real bugger to figure out what is promoted and what isn't these days. I was hoping that my live shows get promoted across the channel, across all my videos when people are watching, but I have no way of knowing whether that's the case, so I hope that was the case. That would be pretty cool. That would make me happy. Alright, so what we're going to need is we're going to need to do a male connection into the quad, and we're going to need a female connection for the battery. I guess that's vice versa, depending on how you look at these connectors. I've heard people say it both ways. Perfect. That'll work. I think that'll do. Standard XT60s, nothing crazy. So what we're going to do, make darn sure. Yep. Now, it really doesn't, polarity truly doesn't matter here, as long as we stick to the right wires and don't, as long as we don't cause serious stuff to happen. Okay, soldering iron is preheating, and should be in good shape. I see no reason we can't build something. Just move my radio so I don't cause destruction. I had a bunch of blue wire. Let's use up this blue wire. Let's save my red and my black for good quad builds. This is, I think this is 12 gauge, this stuff? Yeah, good 12 gauge silicone wire. I hate that's not wasted on something we don't need crazy stuff for. Truthfully, we could use like ridiculous small wire for this job, to be honest, because all we need to do is drop a few amps across the bulb, worst case scenario, and that's about it. So, but let's build it up anyway. I want to hear something funny. Well, funny away. Funny away. So we need some solder. Getting low on my good big solder. That sucks. Go ahead. Let's tin the XT60 connectors. My iron is up to temp quite nicely. I'm not going to be too crazy particular about these connections, just because we simply don't need to flow that much current. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be good enough. Let's try and not do it horrible, though. Come on. That's more gooder. My third hand is rotating on me and running away from me. Alright, there's one. Let's say that's our positive, which is conveniently labeled. Let's do the bulb right now. Let's do the bulb right now. So let's give ourselves a little bit of leeway here. I have never soldered to an 1156 bulb, so this will be new to me. I've changed lots of them back when I was a mechanic, but I've never tried soldering to one of these. I don't anticipate an issue because I do have a pretty hot iron, but we'll find out. Trace what's being made. This is, we're going to do a smoke stopper to drop the load across a simple 1156 light bulb in the event that when we're building a quadcopter, Eric screws up and has an issue. Or a lesser known use, which I really probably shouldn't advocate, but kind of the reason I'm building this, I might as well be honest with you guys because it is what it is. I hate pulling props off to do the most simplest of modification to this quadcopter, and you have to. You cannot power this up and do settings mods, except if we have a way to power it up and drastically limit the current available to the motors, which, this nifty little light bulb will do for us, because it will drop all the potential voltage available anytime there is a very low reference to ground on the other side. So, not that I'm advocating that people do this, but it's just that simple. I really don't want to pull the props off every time when I have to. This came about today because I wanted to change the beep settings on my my ESCs, my electronic speed controls. There's a timer built into them, and one particular quadcopter is still set to 10 minutes before they start to beep. And I wanted to change that to 2 minutes. Well, unfortunately, in order to do that, you have to, well, to do that safely, you should remove your props. And, well, here's an option where I don't have to. That sounds like a good way to get shocked. Yeah, you're not going to get shocked with a 4-cell LiPo. Google physics. That would be a good idea. If Zach's still in the chat, I was curious on how your how your 3D printer was coming along. I haven't caught up with you in a bit. Alright, what's the best way to do this here? We can double back. And yeah, let's double back and make this somewhat short and effective. And a little bit prettier, perhaps. Come on. This is right. It's an awful lot of mass trying to solder here. Trying to solder to the outside of the case of a light bulb, and this is not small wire I'm using, but that's alright. This iron will do the job. We just gotta give it a second here. Perhaps it won't. That is not a good joint. I'm gonna touch that up after. Youch. Let's get this fleshed out first. I can touch that up afterwards. So, we run our positive through to there, and actually would have been easier to just carry that on the other way. Let's do it. Let's do that the other way. No, let's loop it. Let's loop it around. Yeah, that'll work. That'll be spifferific. And then it'll join into the positive side of our connector. Oh, nice, Zach. And yeah, no, sorry. Done. Problem solved. Zach, I was curious if you have any experience with the Creality CR10. Let me know, because as of last night, I have one of those printers on order now, and I'm kind of thinking that that's going to be a fun unit at some point in time. It looks like a pretty impressive printer, but all I have to go by is the tons and tons of different reviews lately on them. They seem kind of impressive. Let's do this and do this. Let's make sure we get this right, which I'll probably still get wrong, because that's usually what happens. And with any luck, oh, come on, we need a buttload more solder. Come on, get in there. Ouch. Ouchie. That is not great, but it will do. So we have positive, to positive, through the LED with that really crappy solder joint that I gotta touch up. And we'll just do a simple loop here and now, back around to the negative sides, and loop them through, and I think that should be in good shape. Crazy Steve has a CR10, my first 3D printer, and you love it. Oh, that makes me very happy. Geez, that seems to be a common sentiment. I don't have any experience with it. Word around the interwebs is a pretty nice machine. Yeah, I've actually never seen a 3D printer with that many positive reviews ever. Like, admittedly, like when I bought mine, they were up against it to do a good job of anything, so it was very easy to get a lot of bad reviews, but that's still the case these days, and man, oh man, people seem happy. So, Steve, what would your advice for someone who's about to take theirs out of the box for the first time in a few days? I am at your disposal. What do you say should or shouldn't be done? Because, like, I know the basic mods that everybody is doing, like the heated bed support and stuff like that. That seems to be a no-brainer, but yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys. That's a cool thing about having a maker channel. Ask one question and sure enough somebody's got one. Took me 15 minutes to get set up, printing quickly, did Simplify 3D, because of the built-in settings. Yeah, I would love to do Simplified 3D, and I probably will downrange, but honestly, the channel funds, the printer is my own funds. It's not a sponsored product, so unfortunately, I'm gonna take a little respite, a little break before we spend any more money on things like Simplify 3D, but it sure looks good. I'm open to any other ideas, though. I think it's going to be an awesome printer. It's a freaking monster. The thing is huge. I can tell you guys one thing, I know for sure, regardless of what happens, it will indeed be better than my Solidoodle 2 that I've been rocking for over 5 years. Or 6 years now? 5 years, 6 years? Something like that? It's been a long, long time. Too long, too long. Alright. It's all about your slicer settings. RC LiPo gives great advice. Yeah, it was actually him that I'll be honest with you guys, I just discovered RC LiPo channel, which is weird. I can't believe that I hadn't run across it before. But when I ran across his channel, sure enough, the CR10 videos, like I think one of them is titled "This is the best printer ever" or something like that, and I got hooked on a lot of his other videos too. But yeah, it seems like slicer settings seems to be where it's at. I did set up Cura today, so we'll see. I think I'll be ready for that. I did slicer first and it worked okay. Well, that's cool to know because I'm familiar. I've been using slicer for years because that's what I use in Repetier, in Repetier, or whatever, however you want to pronounce it. And I'm tempted to stick with it, but I did set up Cura, so I might just go with that just for kicks right off the hop, because that seems to be the popular thing to do other than moving right into Simplify 3D. And let's make sure we get a good bond to the outside of this bulb, and hopefully it doesn't blow up in my face. There we go. That looks more gooder. I know it's hard to see on camera. Okie dokie. Let's... Did we do this right? So our power is going to go out in series through the bulb, through the filament, and then out. So when we have low potential difference to ground on the quadcopter side compared to the battery, our light won't light, and we won't drop the voltage across the bulb. It'll allow the basic things to happen. But when we have a large potential difference, i.e. a short basically, i.e. a motor at full throttle, we would be able to drop everything across the bulb. So I'm going to stop yakking and just take a look. Positive out through the bulb, positive back into the connector, negative, negative, looks promising. Let's make sure that they were labeled correctly, because sometimes these connectors are not. And now, with any luck, before we should insulate those, but and now the quadcopter arms, and then does essentially nothing. Now, well, let it never be said I don't do things for live streams. Let me find something. Let me find something. Don't do this, people. Don't ever do this. But, in theory... Oh yeah, you know what'll work? A good old monster bucket. And then I'm going to stand way back in the corner here, away from this thing, and with any luck, if we cause any amount of current flow, the light should light and nothing major should happen. So, what do you guys think? Think nothing major should happen? Oh, wrong. Hopes if we get the right model. GB210, that's the one. Arm, yeah, there we go. See the light? Now it allows a little bit of motor spin, but it's not going to allow it to take off and bite my face off. It probably still could bite your face off, to be honest, but it's going to drop the majority of the amperage across that bulb, or the majority of the voltage supply across the bulb. So there we go. That's exactly what I wanted. Sweet. That will do the job. Just got a little bit of heat shrink and we'll be good. Yeah, don't worry. Take your props off. Yeah, always should. Always, 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 always. I've prefaced that. I know you probably just got here, but don't do this. But in this case, this is, well, it's ideal for building a new quad. It's the whole purpose of the smoke stopper, is when we're building a new quad, so that we can detect a complete short to ground. But for people who say wanted to do a very minor ESC modification. Not that I'm condoning that. This is better than plugging into the PC with nothing. It's not by much better. It's still an obscenely bad idea. Alright, we'll take some heat shrink. Oh yeah, I wanted to catch up with Steve in the chat. Favorite YouTubers. Oh jeez, there's so many. If you go back to my live shows, so many favorite YouTubers. I have way over 1,000 subscriptions, and everything from the Hacksmith, who is a close personal friend of mine, to, well, people that are in the chat right here. Tobermory Cat's doing some cool stuff with his quad vids. There's lots of cool makers out there. I love Adafruit. Jeez, so many. Check out my my Tech Live broadcasts, the replays of the Monday night show, and each week that's basically what I did on the live shows, was feature other YouTube channels to try and help get some people some exposure and kind of get discovered. I really tried to concentrate on a lot of the smaller channels too, and I would like to hear from you guys. If you know of cool YouTube channels out there that I might not know about, I would love to hear from you guys. And then you'll be fine just messing around with some of the settings. I also tried Cura 2. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I never used Cura before. I was tempted to ages ago. It really seems like an interesting program, but I don't know much about the slicer, and to be honest, I don't fully trust it. I hope it's as good as people say it is, but oh crap, I should have done some small heat shrink on those wires. Those don't fit. I thought for sure this stuff would fit. This is big enough. Oh man, that sucks. This stuff's big enough for an electronic speed control, but it won't fit over an XT60? What? What up with that? Gotta be just that I'm not holding my tongue right. I could stretch it like I've done on the previous builds, but oh man, doesn't that blow chunks? Well, there's another option. There's always another way. It's not going to be as pretty though. We have some stupid high shrink value stuff from DigiKey. This monster, it's huge. But what we could do is we could essentially heat shrink the whole darn thing right up to the connectors. Now, can I still plug connectors in if they're right next to each other? No, not easily. They need to, yeah, let's just do it normal. Let's do a chunk for the bulb, a chunk for each XT60, and it's going to be big and ugly, but it's going to be better than electrical tape. Let's do a chunk for the bulb. It's a cool thing about having this big heat shrink on hand. It's really super duper nifty handy for projects like this. We'll keep it off. Well, hopefully this bulb is basically never going to be lit. We will use the good old WEP. Preheat that. Catch up with you guys in the chat. Let that warm up for just 2 seconds. Looking good. You powered your quad and gave me a heart. Cheers, Paul. BMS Web is here. Well, I did a big no-no. I used a smoke stopper with props on, and I know people should never show anyone how to do that, and never do that, and blah, 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 but we all know what happens out there. My example was I wanted to change the beep settings, the beep timers in BLheli the other day, and I just wanted to change it from 10 minutes to 2 minutes, and I did not want to have to deal with pulling all the props off for that. And you know what happens. You're tempted to just do it with the props on, and bad things happen. This is the lesser of the evils. Still doing it with the props on, if you got tempted to do so and couldn't wait till you have the props off. But at least it's not going to chew my face off. Yeah. I'm a realist. I would love to say people will never ever do such things. They will never power their quad and hook it up and change settings with the props on, but yeah, right. We know what happens out there in the real world. We know. Hill's Workbench. Cheers, buddy. Thanks for subbing mine again. I don't know. I've been subscribed to your channels. You've got like 2 channels. I've been subscribed to yours for a long, long time. I haven't been able to watch many videos in a while. That is way too big for that. There's got to be a better way. How can we do this? How can we do this? I really want to just have one full piece of heat shrink, but I need these to be at 90 degrees. Yeah, nah. I'm just going to seal those up with some what I use. Where is the good stuff? Here's the good stuff. Automotive goop glue. This is clear, transparent stuff. And when it cures up, it's same as conformal coating, and just seals. It's really good for connectors. It has a pretty high dielectric strength. You're not going to find that on the bottle, but I've measured it before. It's fine for low voltage stuff. It's fine for even higher voltage stuff. And we'll just seal those up with a little ball. It'll be nice and classy looking. You could use hot glue too as well. And then we have our smoke stopper. So yeah, we're all set. That's pretty much it. That's what I wanted to build for tonight. Why is that not cooling off? Yeah, there we go. Cooling off now. Sometimes when there's a Hall effect sensor in the handle, and sometimes when it doesn't sit just right on the cradle because I've got wires all jammed up, it won't start cooling, which is undesirable. Always let your hot air rework station cool before you shut it off, because it will just wreck the element if you just shut it off. Press Reset does a video about slicer settings and Simplify 3D and Cura. I'm gonna have to check that out. Crazy Steve, if you're not already in the our Discord chat, maybe hit me up on Twitter and send me that that channel name if you don't mind, just because I'll forget by the time I get everything put away here. But otherwise, you can just use the Discord chat right below, and I'll be in there to chat with you guys in I don't know, 10-15 minutes once I get things cleaned up and apply my glue to these so that it can set over the next few hours. I'd really appreciate that. Thanks, Steve, for all your input on that. Truly appreciate it. Hill's Workbench recently got yeah, no, I didn't subscribe recently. No, I've been getting weird subscriber notifications too. Like I don't get subscriber notifications anymore. I haven't since the channel was like 10,000 or 15,000 subscribers, but they started coming again, and they're just like one-offs. I get 25 to 30 subscribers a day, very, very steady on this channel. And then there's just be like random notifications through Gmail that so-and-so has subscribed to your YouTube channel. And I'm like, really? Come on, YouTube. Get your crap together. It's such a joke. YouTube's got a long way to go on such things. But all right, guys. Well, if you don't mind, click that thumbs up down below. It really helps these videos and helps me on the channel. I hope you guys had a little bit of fun and teach you how to build a cool tool, but don't use it like I'm gonna. Use it only for startup on new quads to make sure you don't have shorts to ground. But otherwise, handy thing. Smoke stopper, bulb, good stuff. I will catch up with you guys in a few days with a brand new video and some more live shows in the upcoming, probably a few days before the weekend, maybe. We'll see. Have a good night, guys. Cheers.